Good morning. Welcome to the post NBA All-Star Game edition of Value Betting, the NBA show. With me, as always, with a brand new shiny background in a brand new home office and locale, we've got Mike Lockey. With me, also, as always, looking like he's still in a hostage situation with his background, we got Matt Mausman. I am Mike G, and we have some exciting news to share about new ways to get information out to you guys. Matt, you want to talk about value betting, Discord, and how we plan to update everybody on news as it breaks?
Yeah, we have a Discord now. I know a lot of people have been asking about this. So if you go on my Twitter, you can see a bunch of tweets that I've had about this already. It's also it's in the YouTube description. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, you can just scroll down to the description, and it's down there too. The link to the Discord. So I'm guessing there are a lot of people that are in here who already have listened to us a bunch and know what we're trying to do. Basically, some kind of hybrid between giving picks but also educating people about how to maneuver injury news in the NBA. Like, this is going to evolve over time because NBA is also not the only sport, and we do have a baseball season coming up. But for NBA, there is a tab in Discord that says NBA ratings, and the thing you see on screen is the spreadsheet that kind of is the reference point for everything we talk about. And in that section in Discord, hashtag NBA ratings, there's a breakdown of how to use this. So I'm not going to go into the whole story of how this works. It is written in there. I think it's pretty concise. Like, it should make sense how to apply that. If you just read through that, it's like 2 paragraphs. But this is what we're going to be referring to. So just the quick overview is that we have a projected point spread in column B, and then we're comparing to the available odds and looking for the biggest gaps that we can find between what we think the line should be and what the odds actually are. So that's really the baseline. There are going to be a lot of player injuries to go through over the course of the rest of the season. Today is a very strange day because there is no news. Because everything that we need to know about today is already accounted for. Trey Jones is doubtful. So if there were an upgrade for him, that's like the one possible thing. There are actually a few players who are listed questionable formally, like Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, Jamal Murray, but these guys they've all said are supposed to play. Like, the team has either said they're going to play or the player themselves has said, I'm playing. Like, Murray, I think, told reporters he's playing. So there really isn't anyone questionable today. This is an unusual day today. So that element that we normally talk about, like who's going to be in, who's going to be out, I guess it's fine that we started late today because it's going to be a little bit shorter. We don't have any of that. So we can just kind of go through game by game and, talk about where there are good bets and where the value is. But the if-then scenarios that we normally have, there are none of those today.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty straightforward show,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Tomorrow, not so much. And I think before we get off today, we should talk about tomorrow. We already have back-to-backs, so
Nice.
we'll have some stuff.
This show tends to embrace and enjoy the chaos. So sorry,
Yeah.
it's just a very straightforward day today. But we can only do what situations are presented to
I'm going
us.
to play
Yeah.
the underdog.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are against the NBA scheduling and want changes. Like JJ Redick had a podcast about this recently. I don't want them to change at all. Not just like, it would be better for everyone involved if they got rid of these travel spots. But for us, just selfishly, like a lot of what our edge is coming from bad scheduling. So don't change anything. Maybe the NBA can just make it more extreme. All right. So
Go to a 162 game schedule like baseball.
yeah, or just condense the entire 82 game season into like 2 months. Let's play multiple games in one day. Let's just have that would be good. It would be profitable for sure. So let's just start at the
You want
top
to
and
start
go
with
down
Utah?
below. Oh yeah, I guess we can go down to Utah because there is, and let me. This is our other reference point for anyone new here. Unabated. Let me get them on screen. You don't need a subscription to see most of this. Just to see their odds screen. They have a bunch of tools that I think are really good, but just to see the odds screen and where the line currently is at various sports books, yeah, you can just do that for free. So for the Utah-Oklahoma City game, it's showing here that there is a +1.5 available at PointsBet still. Did I scroll past that one? Over here. Yeah. So if you can bet the Jazz at plus 1.5 at PointsBet, I mean, they're favored at half the sports books already. We have this game projected Jazz -2. And they actually opened at -3, and the only news that we've gotten here is that Colin Sexton is out, which it's pretty weird that the line would react that much for him. I guess the thinking for people is like the Jazz don't have any depth anymore, which is true, but Sexton himself is not that good.
Yeah, he's not that important.
Yeah, he just, like, they're going to play... let me just find the names. We have a lot of new teams right now, so it's going to be we're going to be a little more confused than normal, but like Chris Dunn is going to be potentially starting or backing up. The Jazz just signed Chris Dunn, who may be better than Sexton.
Well, he's certainly better defensively.
Yeah. He's certainly worse offensively too, but yeah, overall...
okay.
Overall, they're probably similar. It shouldn't matter too much.
So how do we feel about the 538 ratings for a guy like Chris Dunn? If he's going to be a rotation player, like if he's going to be a backup point guard, and he hasn't played a single game, he hasn't played this year, has he?
So no, if he were starting, I think we could get more into the weeds about like how much does he matter, how good is he really, because his minutes would be high enough that he'd be super relevant. The actual starting point guard tonight is going to be Talen Horton-Tucker. I forgot about him for a second. We can be more confident in his rating. He's been playing with them all year. So his rating compared to Sexton is, let's see, Sexton is a -1.1. He's like slightly positive offense and really bad defense. Horton-Tucker is a -0.9. He's bad at offense but good at defense.
Functionally the same effect.
Yeah. Horton-Tucker was going to play anyway. Now he's going to play more, and then those extra minutes are going to be picked up by Dunn. I think overall this is like, it helps the under, but that's it. Like Sexton being off the court is going to make a lower scoring game, but that's the only real effect. And in terms of the total, I don't want to mess with this too much because we just don't know what the baseline. I think Sexton should have been expected to be out before the line opened because he was hurt before the break. So I don't want to mess with the total because I don't know what the total would have been if he were.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to the total conversation here. I mean, the Thunder put up an incredible amount of points on a regular basis. They also give up a ton of points. It's just like, I don't know. This is an under. I want to be on.
The other thing is this matchup is really, really weird now because the Jazz are like the Magic now in terms of size. With Sexton not playing, like all their players are bigs. Like Ochai Agbaji might start at shooting guard if they decide to start Clarkson at point guard, with Kessler, with Markkanen, with Olynyk in the front court. And then OKC is the exact opposite, where all their players are guards, basically.
Yeah.
So, like, depending which team's lineup wins out, that will dictate the pace. Like, if the Thunder need to play bigger than normal to compensate, the game will be lower scoring. If the Jazz need to, like, if the game is too fast and Kessler gets played out of the game, then it's going to get really up-tempo and the over is probably going to come in. So we don't know which of those is going to happen. This is probably super high variance for what the total... Like, I'm staying away from this.
Yep, I think the stay away is the ultimate point here.
But the Jazz being home underdogs just because Colin Sexton is out is kind of silly. So that's where we're looking. I mean, I think if you're getting +1.5 is really good. If you're getting +1, I think it's like a 3/4 unit bet or something like that. And then at Pick'em, it's a half unit bet. It kind of depends what number you can get. FanDuel, the money line is -104 right now, which isn't bad. That's actually what I have for myself right now. So that's like functionally betting a team as a half-point underdog. Like -104 on the money line is equivalent to something like +0.5 on the spread. So it's like a 2.5 point edge, but we're crossing a 0, so it's more like a 2 point edge. There's a lot of like simple but probably mostly irrelevant math that going on there. Right. But for me, I think a round pick'em is like a half unit bet on the Jazz. So not too exciting, but we do have an edge there.
Well, that's the best bet of the board so far. So yeah, we wanted to start there. I think it was immediately actionable.
Yeah, and PointsBet still, I think,
line closing at Utah's favored by 1.5 or so.
Yeah, it's already -1 at DraftKings. It's -1 at the Win. It's -1 at Caesars, but it's +1.5 at PointsBet. So certainly like that number just on that alone, even without having projections. Like it's 2.5 points off from the rest of the market. So yeah, that one's good. Let's see what else we got. It's just weird not having news. I almost don't know what to do. Like, let's talk about the big breaking news that we're going to get to edge where. Yeah, I don't think there's enough edge on Denver. I mean, unless you can get +3, which I'm not sure if there actually is one. Yeah, there might have been one earlier this morning, but the Denver +3, I don't see that anywhere. So ignore that one for now. I guess we can lay 14.5 points with Dallas, which is not there are 14s. Like, I kind of thought Luka could get a game off out of the break. Like, they asked him what he was most excited for All-Star weekend, and his answer was to go to Mexico on Monday after the All-Star game. So that's where he's been the last 3 days. And this is a home game versus the Spurs. I thought they might just be like, yeah, take an extra day for your vacation.
They still might.
They gave us an injury report yesterday, though. I think they would have at least said, like, questionable or whatever. He's not on the injury report.
Fair enough.
I think they would have told us. Yeah, they're not doing gamesmanship against Popovich at this point in the season. That would be kind of strange. I guess, like, he could say, yeah, my quad's a little tight. Let me wait a game. I suppose if there's one player who is relevant who could get downgraded today, Luka Doncic is that guy, for sure, if there's one. But let's call it a 4% chance, or it's got to be pretty low.
Yeah, I would have. If they already put out the injury report, then I doubt there's going to be a downgrade. It's much less likely.
But if it's going to be anybody, I think, like, if we went through this whole list of all the games and looked at, like, which star player might sit today, if you've got nothing else to do and it's like, I'm just going to wait around and see if I can beat an injury news thing, Luka would be the guy. Like, I would have the Kyrie props ready. But I don't think it's likely enough. Like, I'm probably not going to do it.
This is your 8th day off in a row, is what you're saying.
Well, I did bet Utah already today. It's my 8th day off in a row from monitoring injury news because we didn't have anything the day before the break either. But nice. In terms of betting on Dallas, maybe it is worth waiting till closer to game time to, like, know for sure that he's in.
There might be 15s or 15.5s by then too.
That's also true. Yeah,
the tricky part, right? But you're also getting into such wide territory that I don't even enjoy betting spreads this big.
There is a thing this year where, like, a lot of basketball betting pundits have said the Mavericks are terrible at covering games against bad teams. Like, they just don't. Their motivation is. But I'm not putting any weight into that.
Sounds like noise to me.
Yeah. And also, at a certain point, they're going to know that narrative exists and, like, actually put in more effort to, like, compensate.
Yeah, I'm sure Kyrie will help with the motivation. It's, he's solid.
I mean, Kyrie seems motivated so far.
Yeah, he's looking for a contract.
He played really well in the All-Star game. He was, like, one of the 4 people trying.
Yeah, that game was unwatchable. It actually got... That first year they put the Elam ending in a couple of years ago was actually probably one of the better fourth quarters anyway. I mean, you had all 10 guys actually trying. This last game was,
I might have watched 10 minutes of the game, and it was just like guys just running down the middle of the lane and dunking, and, like, that was it. And, like, nobody was even putting an arm out to try.
It was bad. Yeah. I did try to make 3 bets. 2 of them I was able to make. 1 of them I couldn't make because Bet365 was the only site that had it with Giannis. But under LeBron, under Embiid, and under Giannis, I thought the injury risk for those guys was high enough to bet unders on all 3. Embiid went over, LeBron went under, so I split those. And I'm still upset I couldn't get a Giannis under because he played 1 minute.
Right.
There were lines. You want to hear the line's 20.5 points at Bet365 for Giannis. 20.5.
I got a live bet on Giannis right after the game officially started and before he checked out.
Oh, seriously? They actually
I found a live line for a couple bucks that I was able to get in there. Nice. So that was nice.
Yeah, the guy
I also had the dunk contest guy at plus 200. And that was not as close.
Mac McClung, right? Because I guess his line moved a lot before it started. The guy who tweeted the parlay that he made with the LeBron unders and Giannis unders. Someone tweeted me that they had a 40-1 parlay with all the Giannis unders, all the LeBron unders, but also team LeBron to win, which don't do that. Like you have if you have a stance like that where you're betting that for a reason, just cut it off there. Like so he won all the player props in the parlay, but the wrong team won the game.
Wow.
I don't know how much money it was for, but I'm glad that someone at least was looking at that. Like it seemed pretty clear that Giannis was not going to play full minutes when the Bucks beat writer during warmups tweeted that Giannis wasn't using his right hand in layup lines. They were like, the guy was like, he's only dribbling with his left. It was exactly what happened with Chris Paul a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So it would have been cool if the regulated books that everyone has access to posted props there. Then we could have had some fun, but oh well. All right.
They might have been on that though too. That's just part of them being sharp pros also.
Right. Maybe like FanDuel never posted a Giannis line. Maybe they kind of had a hunch about that because they posted lines for everybody else. What else do we have for today before we go back to futures and tomorrow?
Lakers, Denver.
Yeah, I guess we have a bit of value on the Lakers too. I tweeted yesterday that -5, or maybe that was a Discord post. Now it's going to be hard for me to keep track of where things are if I'm posting. I guess I'm probably going to default to tweeting things because if you're in Discord, it'll show up in like the general chat if I tweet. It'll like auto populate there. So if I tweet it, it'll show up in both places. But anyway, I thought the Lakers would be a decent bet at -5 if LeBron played because we got Andrew Wiggins ruled out yesterday. So I have like a half unit bet at -5. It still looks fine at 5.5. This is a very, very bad version of the Warriors that we have going right now. Because there's already, the Steph Curry absence, and now we've got no Wiggins, and this is not a deep team. And the Lakers are actually, like, I don't know if I want to call them good, but they rate like a good team. Like, we've got Austin Reeves is back. LeBron and AD are both playing. D'Angelo Russell is a good player. Beasley, Vanderbilt, and now we don't have to see Lonnie Walker play really any minutes. I don't really care about the Mo Bamba signing, but he's not going to play that much anyway. Hachimura, same deal. Like I don't think he's that good, but now he's not going to play that much. So as long as no one on this team is injured, they're actually, I don't think they're anywhere near championship contender, but they're in overall talent. They might be a top 12 team in the NBA right now.
It's quite a statement.
They're not going to finish in the top 12 because they're so far back in the standings. But if you put the Lakers in a play-in game against Sacramento and the game was in Sacramento, I'm not sure who would be favored.
Yeah, I guess the big thing here, of course, is how healthy or how healthy / how many games are LeBron and AD going to play.
Right.
So I did see an interesting stat. They need to go 14-9. I mean, it's not a stat, but anyway, they need to go 14-9 to finish 500 for the season. Is this team really 14-9? I mean, if they're top 12, I guess they are.
If healthy, that's within reach. I wouldn't predict 14-9. I'd probably predict like 13-10, whatever, or 12.5 and 10.5. But it's not that far outside of their median expectation if they stay healthy. It's like a little above what they should do, probably.
Right, and AD is so close with LeBron now that I'm sure that the chemistry is wonderful.
Well, it does help that Westbrook's not on the team. Like, that has to help a good amount. Did you see AD's interview about Westbrook?
No, I did not.
The guy that tweeted about it took it down, so I couldn't find it.
They asked Davis how he thought Westbrook would fit in with the Clippers, and he basically just said nothing. Like, the whole answer was like, I'm sure Westbrook will be happy he's staying in LA. He just would not comment on it. He just gave like a 30-second non-answer because the truth is he's like, what are the Clippers doing? They're such idiots. Why would they sign this guy? That's got to be what he's thinking. But he wouldn't say it. So yeah, not having Westbrook helps.
Either that or he's thinking, man, I wish I was on the Clippers instead of the Lakers, so I don't have to deal with LeBron anymore.
I want to flip this game conversation slightly real quick.
Okay.
My opinion of this Warriors team and last year's Warriors team about this time are pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
And last year's team won the title, which I didn't really think was on the table. Is this Warriors team like obviously they're playing without Steph right now, but like I'm just not even with Steph back. I'm just not sold that they are legit. I don't know.
It's mostly so I think they're about the same as last year once they get healthy because they do have Gary Payton now, assuming he can play in the playoffs, assuming they can get 12 minutes a game from like Iguodala in the playoffs instead of Kuminga or another young player who isn't as good right now. I mean, Iguodala is probably better than Kuminga for the next 6 months, and that's it. He won't be anymore after that. DiVincenzo is a reasonably good addition from last year too. Like it's overall I think very similar quality team if healthy, but the West is way stronger than last year. That's probably like why it feels that way. So I think their chances to make it to the finals are way lower just because of who's around them. Like this version of the Warriors last year might have been the best team in the Western Conference. This year it's like the 5th best team. Denver's way better. Obviously Phoenix is better now. Dallas is way better. Memphis is way better. Like the Warriors are not better than any of those teams. But they're just as good as they were last year. It's just everyone passed them. They can win. I'm not saying that, but it's a much tougher road. Like they're going through. There's 2 great teams in the East, and there's at least 5 great teams in the West. So
fair enough.
Like it is weird to see them like being 6-point underdogs against the Lakers, but they are missing Curry.
They're missing Curry, and the Lakers really need this game. I mean,
that has not tended to matter for the Lakers recently, but yeah, maybe it'll start to.
I agree, but I think it's there's not many games left. I think they realize now, or LeBron realizes this is it.
I'll backtrack off that anyway, just to agree with that. They did play really hard in the New Orleans game right before the break. I kind of forgot about that one. Because they coasted against Portland and OKC, and there was one other game in between. But the New Orleans game, they were like, oh, right, we have to try now. It kind of felt like that.
Right. I mean, LeBron's on record now saying it's not in his DNA to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. So, you can only wait so long before you actually play all the games and play both sides of the floor.
Yeah.
So
I think the Lakers will make the play-in tournament if LeBron and Davis stay healthy. I would put them well above 50% if those guys stay on the court.
Is that a Pacific Division discussion we just started?
Kind of. They are not. Yeah, I guess whatever. Why don't we do it? They are not dead for the division. I think it's like 5% at absolute most, but they're not dead. Let's just pull up the odds. I don't actually know where they are right now. It's got to be at least 50-1, but.
I'm saying 66-1.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. Okay. And then it's a little more clear now because we know when Durant's going to come back and we know when Curry's going to come back with it, give or take a few days. So this actually helps us kind of figure out where these teams.
When is Durant back?
I think they said yesterday. He's expected to return
targeting next Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. I don't know what that matchup is.
Got it. I had that stupid crossover bet with Super Bowl and KD points. So I didn't realize it was going to be a futures bet when I made it. But
right. Wait, what is the points for?
It's terrible. It's KD scoring more points than the winning team in the playoffs or the winning team in the Super Bowl.
Is it just whenever he plays in his first game?
Yeah, whenever his first game back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not counting that money. It's just more I want to be able to write it off as a loss already. It's bothering me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's going to be on a minutes limit too in his first game.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what's the current thinking for the division that has generated the most volume of bets from the Matt bank account this year?
I don't know what's happening.
Maybe not dollar amount, but in terms of
dollar amount, just number of individual bets.
Number of bets on the same thing with different variations. But anyway, what
I'm
do you
pretty
think
sure I've placed over 200 individual bets on this division already. I'm pretty confident.
Right.
I think it's a real number. I think we're waiting and seeing for results at the moment. So the team that's closest to being a plus EV bet, I think, could be the Lakers, just given where the odds are at this number. They certainly have to win tonight for this to continue to be good. But they're far enough back that they may win. The odds may not move even if they win 2 games in a row. So I would wait for sure. Like, let's let a couple games play out before betting the Lakers. I'm not doing it yet. I know the Warriors are available at 20 to 1.
Sage advice right there. Make sure you make a clip of that one. Yeah. We're going to wait a couple games before betting on the Lakers. Okay.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. I've been
coming to the show for the sharp stuff.
I may have dealt with this team before. I know the Warriors are available at 20 to 1 or higher at a couple books. I think Bet Rivers had 20, and Caesars may have had 20 also. I have Caesars up. 1 second. Let me just check that. Caesars has the Warriors at 24. So that one looks pretty appealing if the Warriors win tonight. Like, they are only 3.5 games behind Sacramento. And if Steph Curry is going to be back in like 10 days, which it kind of sounds like that's roughly what we're looking at. They said reevaluate in a week, but he's progressing. Like, I think it could be 10 to 14 days for him. A couple Warriors wins in a row or a couple wins in games against like competing teams, they could end up leapfrogging everybody. Like, they're not out of it either. So before the break, we were saying Clippers at plus 400 if they beat the Suns was a good bet. The line moved too fast for me. I got like a plus 320 or 330 or something when it was moving downward. Now it's like 290 or 280. I think there were some 270s. I think don't bet the Clippers now. The Suns for sure are minus EV bet. Like, this is the worst one here. The Suns are not over 50% to win this division. So that's why there's value, is because the Suns are still just dramatically overpriced. Sacramento, I think, is on the fringe of plus EV. So I would say right now the Clippers are on the fringe, the Kings are on the fringe, the Warriors are on the fringe, and the Lakers are on the fringe, and the Suns are bad, and that's why that is the case. Like, Suns are a really bad bet, and all 4 other teams are almost good bets. So for all 4 other teams, whichever of them has like the best next week or even the next 3 days, that's who we're going with. And it could be more than one of these teams. But there's almost nothing that could happen now to make the Suns a good division bet. There's almost nothing that could happen in the next 5 days that could make the Suns a good division bet. You know, if the Suns go on a 4-game winning streak, that's a different story. But in the immediate, like in the very, very short term, it's the other 4 teams. Like, there's potential for all of them to be good bets. So it's kind of just, it has to be a wait and see. And yeah, this is certainly going to be, there's going to be more tweets and more Discord posts about this because it's been very compelling. And it's actually, the Pacific Division in the NHL is like equally compelling somehow. Like, I don't know what is going on out west this year in both sports, but yeah, there's like 10 teams live for 2 Pacific divisions somehow. But that's all I can really say at the moment. Like, we have to wait and see.
I think I agree with all that. I think it would be very interesting to see how this plays out. I think the Suns are certainly overrated as well right now, but you know, they could also just be good, and that could end up looking silly too. So we shall see.
But just to like make the point of differentiation so that people like understand why I'm saying this about Phoenix, it's not that they're not a finals contender. Like, I do think they're overvalued for the finals, but this has nothing to do with that. This is more just like they're not going to play Durant and Paul big minutes in the regular season. In the playoffs, it's going to be a totally different story. And these guys are going to have rest games, Booker, Paul, and Durant. And then there's injury risk for all 3 of them. Paul and Durant for obvious reasons. Booker, though, has had the same groin injury twice this year. So regular season purposes, the Suns are going to be cautious with these 3 guys. And the minutes are just not going to be as high as they would be in the playoffs. So for just the regular season, I don't think the Suns are the best team in the division for just the regular season. For the playoffs, they are, definitely. But sure, that has a lot to do with the rotations, because the Suns also have no depth. So
a little bit of the Warriors conversation too, right? They run really shallow rotations in the regular season, and then, you know, Curry starts playing 41 minutes a game or whatever.
Right. Yeah, the Warriors and the Suns and the Clippers also kind of have the ability to make their teams way better in the postseason in a way that Sacramento absolutely does not. They don't have the high-end guys that they can play extra minutes. Their guys already play a lot of minutes.
Hey, as long as we're looking at futures, can you pull up 6 man?
Oh, yeah. I think Brogdon still looks like the clear favorite, but let's see what we have.
I've got a weirdo.
We haven't. Well, Westbrook, by the way, is not out of this. Just saying.
I was just going to say, I'm actually thinking Westbrook, depending on the odds, might not be a bad bet. My God, I can't believe I said those words.
Hey, if the price is right.
I'm actually just more curious. What are his odds right
12 to 1. It doesn't seem high enough, but I don't think he's 100% out of it.
He's not out of it. I mean, again,
he was the favorite for most of the season.
Yeah, like if he may start, first of all. Like they may start him. But right. I feel like they probably won't. And there's going to be something in the voting, even if he's terrible for the whole year on two different teams. If he is a bench scorer for two different teams that puts up good numbers on two different teams, this is an unprecedented situation.
Right. That's why I wanted to raise the topic. I'm not saying I'm a proponent of this or that I would vote for him, but yeah, if he ends up being the energy guy off the bench and gets his counting stats up and, pulls up 16 and 10 at his normal inefficient stuff, but if he does, if he puts those numbers up, because I'm assuming they brought him in just to eat minutes through the regular season, but I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know why they brought him in.
12 to 1 is intriguing. Yeah, my old eyes are too small to see. What are those? I can't see what the. So what's Brogdon and what's Maxey?
Brogdon minus 155, Powell plus 410, Maxey plus 410. I still think the best bet is Maxey because Powell is also hurt by the deadline and Westbrook. Mm-hmm. The bench is very cluttered for the Clippers right now. It's going to hurt Powell's production going forward. He's got the second unit now not only has more guys, it's more high usage players. Like Bones Highland is there and Russell Westbrook is there. All three of these players are going to come off the bench. There's not going to be.
Might start.
I think they still are going to start Terrence Mann at point guard, but we don't know. We're going to find out tonight because this is their first game back.
Yeah, no, I like the Maxey bet at plus 410.
Yeah.
Because he might just be the guy who ends up as the leader. Brogdon injury risk is always a thing.
Brogdon is certainly the favorite right now, and if the season ended today, he would definitely win. But there's a lot that can change.
Right. No, I'm just saying at plus 410, I think it's worth something. Because he's not that. I don't think he's that far behind. But Brogdon just has a pretty big injury history. So like if he tweaks something, I could see them just either not shutting him down, but really reducing his minutes. So not reporting news here, just speculating on what could happen at the plus 410.
Yeah.
If Maxey was still in the plus 200s, it wouldn't seem like enough value. But anyway, that was the thought on that one. But
yeah, I think
the Westbrook 12 to 1 is at least worth a conversation, as scary as that sounds.
If he comes off the bench tonight and has a good game off the bench and plays 25 minutes, I will probably bet that. It needs to kind of line up. We don't even know if he's going to come off the bench, and he might play 14 minutes for them, and then it's like, okay, he's definitely not going to be in contention.
Yeah, I can't, has there been talk of him starting? I can't imagine.
No, there was an interview with Ty Lue, and I want to jump to tomorrow's games before we leave. But just the quick thing is, Tyronn Lue said you'll see who's starting when the starting lineup comes out. He's like, we're not telling you.
Okay, Ty.
Yeah, I don't know why you would start Westbrook, but he said we're not telling you yet. Okay, so there's two important things for tomorrow. We have the Heat are playing the Bucks, and it sounds like Giannis is going to be out, but we don't know for sure. So yesterday, Giannis was limited in practice. That's all we got. And they asked Budenholzer if Giannis was ruled out for the weekend. He wouldn't say. He said, we're taking it day by day. I think Giannis is going to be out, and the market is already pricing Giannis out. So if Giannis is in, Milwaukee's a really good bet. And we could get that at any point in the next 36 hours. My hunch is we're going to get another Bucks update like 6:30 Eastern because that's generally like when we get those. But it could technically be at any point because this is a tomorrow night game. So if Giannis is upgraded, and I would consider questionable, like upgrade to questionable, that's enough. I would bet it at -1, -1.5, whatever. If they list him doubtful, then no. Because he's basically already doubtful. That's how I'm reading this. So if we get doubtful or out, it's nothing. But if we get questionable or better, then it's a Milwaukee bet immediately. And it's a really good one, too. We'd have like a 4-point edge or something. I think with Giannis in, the Bucks would be projected like -6. So at -1.5, it's even high. It's more than a 4-point edge. And then the other one, I'm not betting this yet, but the Cavs are playing at home against Denver tonight. They're in Atlanta tomorrow. And we did sort of get a hint here that Ricky Rubio is out tonight, which I tweeted could be an indication they want him available if Mitchell is out tomorrow. And it is off the All-Star break. They have had a long layoff, but Mitchell was in the All-Star game. Like, he didn't get a vacation. He traveled to Utah, played in the All-Star game. Now he's coming back to Cleveland. Tomorrow he goes to Atlanta. Like, this is not that different to me than just a normal situation in the middle, in like any point in the season. So for Mitchell, I would say it depends how tonight's game goes. Like, if Denver and Cleveland go to overtime tonight, I'm going to bet the Hawks right away. And this one is a little confusing because the Hawks did just fire their coach. We don't know what their rotation is going to look like. I don't care about the motivational stuff around Nate McMillan, but I do care who they're going to play. And the thing with the Hawks now that is weird is, like, they have Garrison Matthews on the team, who rates really well, and then they also have Aaron Holiday and Sadiq Bey, who rate very poorly. And depending how they mix up the rotation, the team rating can fluctuate a lot. So there's a lot of uncertainty with the Hawks right now for many reasons. But if Mitchell's going to be out...
I do find this Cavs team very appealing at 25-1 for a title. I think they are obviously in a very difficult Eastern Conference, but the Lakers have shorter odds than the Cavs right now, and I think that's crazy talk.
Well, the Lakers' odds are dumb. The Lakers' odds are more dumb.
Understood.
Like, 538 has the Cavs at 4%, which basically makes it fair. I think it's an okay line. I don't hate the bet, honestly. Like, I think they could win it. They are more likely than the Lakers. I will agree with you there. But I think the Lakers line is just really stupid. Like, don't bet the Lakers to win the championship. Yeah. The Cavs are interesting because there's young players who, like, Evan Mobley rates negative, but 3 months from now he may have, like, hit another level in his career, and, like, the team could just, go off because Mobley starts playing at an all-star level, which he hasn't really yet. So I do agree. There is a lot of upside for the Cavs.
It's probably going to do it for today.
Yeah, yep. We will come back to both of those games tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll talk about Milwaukee again. We'll talk about Cleveland again with Atlanta. We can talk Cavs futures again tomorrow. We'll have plenty of time to cover that.
Sounds good, guys. Keep an eye on the Value Betting MM Twitter account. Keep an eye on Discord. We will keep you updated as possible. You never know. We might get some Luka news today, so keep an eye out for that. And good luck us. We will see you guys tomorrow.